try to figure out which tree or post or pole was the best one to put my lemonade stand 25 cents for lemonade thing. So I've been chasing attention my whole life. And what I know is as we sit here today, there's an extraordinary amount of money being wasted by internal teams, by external agencies, by the production of videos, pictures, and written word, by the media spend that you spend on Google and Facebook and TikTok and television and outdoor and print and badges. You can steal an NBA badge or you can overpay for it. There is no guaranteed deal. The best deal in day trading attention, aka the best ad in America today, is the Super Bowl spot. It's the best ad. The problem is, even though the $7 or $8 million for 30 seconds that will get you 110 million Americans to consume it, even though that's the best ad, if you screw up the 30-second video, it's not the best. So you have this game of spending media dollars to get attention, and then you have the creative, the video, the picture, the audio, the written word as the variable if you're going to sell sneakers, ticket sales, screaming, B2B contracts, help your sales team if you're a SaaS business. This is the biggest conversation from ESPN to a single person entrepreneur looking to sell chocolate next week. And I think the majority of the people in this room are grossly underestimating the platforms that dominate the attention of our society, and the majority of them are sitting on this thing right here. Now, of course, streaming has incredible amounts of attention, and of course, there's other variables. I mean, I like running videos at gas station pumps because people consume them against the price. I think sometimes buying outdoor billboards is a big deal, but this goes to the framework that I want everyone here to take away: day trading attention. Meaning, you're doing it every day. You're day trading. You don't just blindly say that Google AdWords work. You have to change the creative on Google AdWords against emerging trends. Nobody was searching the comment of Kelsey and Taylor Swift a month ago, and now they are. What does that mean? In anything. And there's 700,000 other things going on in culture right this nanosecond, and most people are punting marketing because they don't understand it. Which is why we have those classic phrases of, I'm wasting 50% of my money, I just don't know what 50%. And I don't believe it has to be that way, but I don't believe anyone in this stadium, probably including me, takes it serious enough because it is the most controllable variable to create the outcome that you want.
So day trading attention would be this concept that...
I just want to thank the guy who whistled. Thank you for that.
So day trading attention is this concept that the old world, or C1, would be you place a marketing campaign and you leave and you go focus on what it is, to the new world, which is C2. You got to think that every single thing matters, every channel matters, and it's this living, breathing thing, and those organizations who do the best at it are the ones that are going to win.
Period. Period. And look, marketing is the offense. If you stuck at defense, I really don't want to talk football right now because I'm super fucking pissed. This is actually insane. The Jets thing is really a problem right now. But anyway, look, I want to be careful here because I want everybody here to... The people that are best in the world on what we just talked about, do I think they're going to win? They're going to win on the offense. They're going to acquire the most customers. Everybody here knows you can screw up business a million ways that has nothing to do with how much revenue you bring in. So yes, do I think the people in this room, and actually, maybe you notice how many people are familiar with me and the things I talk about. And I go to some very, very nice place, so don't feel bashful. I'm just trying to understand something real quick. Please make equal amount of noise, because I know you're going to be nice to me, but don't be nice to me. Equal amount of noise if you don't know me at all. My self-esteem is good. That was good. That was good. I was like, 60, 70, no, 70, 30, and I'm good. Anyway, especially for the 30, 40% that don't know, and honestly, weirdly enough, maybe even more for the 60 to 70% that do know, please make this the time, even if you're one of those people that's heard this from me 99 times, and definitely if you've never heard this from me, please listen to me. Everything on earth in 2023, heading into 2024, how many of you here do not take social media serious? It has the far majority of our country's attention, the world's attention on it. And let me say this nice and slow, right? This is business 101. It's free. The distribution is free. Of course you can run ads on it, and of course it costs money to make a video and things of that nature. But you're not calling the Jazz for sponsorship and Ryan's like, yeah, no problem, put your patch on my jersey, it's free. You can't get a newspaper ad for free. Google is not free. You can't do a commercial for free. Radio ads are not free. For the first time, distribution is potentially free. And for the real players in this room, and this is a big one, Ryan, for the real players in this room, you know that we've gone through a massive transformation in social media in the last 24 months, which I refer to as the TikTokification of social media. And what that means is the following. I invested 17 years ago in 3 companies. They were the first 3 companies I invested in. They were called Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. So that means that I made a lot of money, but it also means something important for this point. When I invested in Tumblr, which was the third of those 3 investments back in 2006, I called my brother AJ and I said, obviously I just invested in Facebook and Twitter 6 months earlier, 3 months earlier, and I called AJ. I had this meeting with David Karp, the founder of Tumblr, which was a New York-based tech company, which was unusual. And I called AJ and I said, bro, I just invested in the biggest one of them all. Tumblr will be bigger than Facebook and Twitter. First, thank God I did not make that video. Second, let me tell you why I said it. I said it because the mistake I made was that I didn't take into consideration at the time the jockey, not the horse. Obviously, Ed Williams and Jack were more capable operators. Mark Zuckerberg was a more capable operator than David Karp. Now, David Karp still sold Tumblr for $1 billion years ago when $1 billion was like $50 billion now, right? So it's still a monster exit. But let me tell you why I thought Tumblr was going to be the biggest. Facebook and Twitter, when I explained to AJ on that call, which I actually wish I did record so I can show it to you now and tell you how long I've been waiting for the TikTokification of such. Facebook and Twitter, you followed people. It was your social graph, and it worked like email marketing. We would all try to amass as many followers, and a percentage of our followers would open, like open rates, right? Get a million followers, 27,000 to 250,000 would see it. It worked like email. I understood that. I built my daddy's wine business on email. I understood. Tumblr was doing something different. You were following your interests. And I really, if you can tell it right here, it is. It's about to come out. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see that.
Okay. The reason I just got goosebumps is because I remember what I felt once I understood what Tumblr was doing, which was our interests are more powerful than the people we follow. As a matter of fact, all of our friends are almost solely based on our interests. We became friends on aligned interests. So I fell in love with Tumblr. And so for the people that follow me the most, and I've got some friends in front that I know do, you remember 7 years ago, I went crazy on Instagram. The reason, and everybody was like, all right, this is the time Gary actually lost his mind. Why is an app that has 13-year-old girls dancing on it? Why is he yelling about this? Because I saw the interest graph come back, and I knew that it started with 14-year-old girls, but we would all eventually be there because it's the most powerful thing. Now, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, Snap Discovery, Twitter, all of the platforms now are showing you higher percentage, and I believe TikTok included is not showing us enough of it. I think they should be pot committed to just showing us what we want to consume, because that's how the world actually works. And I think the future battle of who's going to win this battle of these 4 or 5 companies is which algorithm goes all the way to just showing us what we want to be seeing instead of random stuff. And so this is a long-winded setup for something I want everyone to hear. For the first time ever in the history of marketing, the content creates the distribution. The way every other platform for 100 years has worked, from radio to billboard to direct mail to television to the whole internet, was you made a picture or video and then you paid money to try to get in front of people. For the first time ever, and it did not matter how good your video or picture was. If you made a shitty commercial, NBC did not give you their money back. They took it and it ran. For the first time ever, the quality of the creative So we are in a crash course in the next 5 to 7 years where every ad, above the line as they call it, television, and all of social will be now in a place where the creative is a variable to the success greater than we've ever seen. And the practitioners, I sit here today as a man who knows the difference between putting the same picture on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, Facebook main feed, towards like all these platforms. I know the difference of what it needs to look like, what the first 3 seconds need to look like, what the title needs to look like, what time to post it, how much copy, which hashtags. This is a skill. This is not your 22-year-old fucking niece doing this for your company. This is a massive skill, and it's the most important skill. And I think everybody here is punting it and having it as their 15th to 80th biggest priority. And I believe from the Utah Jazz to an entrepreneur out here on day one, the craft of producing 30, 40, 50, 60 ads a day, 30, 40, 50, 60 a day across 11 platforms, targeting different demos. This is for the female fans. This is for female 32 to 40-year-old fans who like Taylor Swift and go to yoga. This is for 55 to 57-year-old African-American fans who like Jay-Z. Like deep segmentation, 30, 40, 50 segmentations. If you're a B2B SaaS business, this is for the CFOs on LinkedIn and Fortune 5,000 companies where we're going to make copy and creative that tells them how much money they will save if they use our SaaS product because they're a CFO and you fucking CFOs out there, you love saving money.
This AI tool will take your idea and create a complete book, complete with design, images, layout, everything, including the content, literally in a few minutes. Watch this. So I'm using Designer, which will import content from your blog, from a Google Doc, Word doc, or even a YouTube, depending on the plan you choose. For now, I'm going to use WordGenie, the AI feature.
I'm a Swiss. I grew up in Canada. That's where I'm from. And I am now in my office in the Philippines at Horizon Sun Charter. Just getting myself knowledgeable about marketing.
That's the outline for my book, which I'm free to edit as I see fit. Now then.
Yeah, marketing. Gary Vee. Go follow Gary Vee. That's a pretty cool guy. So I'm following that guy. And while I'm following this guy, I'm putting YouTube Live so we can make some content for our marketing.
Who's the CFO? Make some noise. There's like 10 CFOs in So look, obviously you can see with that 6-minute rant or whatever the fuck I just did, this is important.
That's our seaplane. We got the real one in the hangar. You can Google us and you will see us. My name is Raymond Schwab. I'm the founder of Horizon Sun Charter in the Philippines.
Time we're together maybe 2 or 3 times ago, he's my homie. I just heard that. The biggest fear I have is they know how to make the content, but they don't know the nuances of the distribution and how to make the content for the distribution. So they may know how to make great content. ESPN, the Jazz, everybody. There's a lot of talented storytellers. The problem is every storyteller that has been trained for the last 30 years was not trained in having to think about the distribution. The distribution was just the screen. 30 minutes, yeah. Okay, I'm doing a sitcom. I gotta tell the story in 22 minutes. That was it. Today, there's not a single time that I post-produce video that I'm recording that I'm not thinking about how the algorithm works on LinkedIn. What is the features? Is it a carousel ad? Like, why am I posting on Instagram now a carousel two-post, where the first one's an image and the second one's a video, instead of what I've been doing for 2 straight years, which is just a video? It's because I'm watching, I'm day trading attention. It goes much further than that with day trading attention. Influencer marketing is one of the greatest opportunities in marketing today to either get an obnoxious deal for $100,000 in 1 or 30 influencers and crush, or spend $100,000 on 1 to 30 influencers and get nothing. This is a skill of day trading all of pop culture, distribution, creative variables. So what I was saying to Ryan is, look, if I'm right about this, and ironically, there's a great company based here that literally, where are they? I may be backstage. Literally, a week ago, an employee that worked for me for the last 9 years became the CMO of a company based in Utah. I just met the gentleman back in. They've been working with one of my agencies. That's where they met her. So yes, I do believe that a shocking percentage of Fortune 500 CMOs in 10 to 20 years would have been trained at VaynerX, and I'm really proud of that. I want that for those employees, and I want that for the marketing world, because I believe that marketing today is in a shit show. I think we're wasting an obnoxious amount of money, and I think we need to fix it.
So I think everyone here, does everyone understand the day trading concept? Okay, so that's the takeaway from Still Consulting. I have a book on this, right?
Yeah, next year it's coming out. Day trading attention. It's gonna crush. Actually, for people that here that really follow me, it was originally called Jab, 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 Left Hook. It's the follow-up of a book that I know. Ron, thank you for crushing. That's the first one. That's the first one. I will sign up for that book. I'm done. Locked in. Get it right now. I'm signing it. Let's fucking mix it up here at Silicon Summit. Good.
I want to switch gears. Okay, I think there's a lot. When you talked about growing up, I'll never forget you coming over to my house, meeting my son Jack. You asked me what his favorite number was, 5. And
That is me, shit. I like almost kidnapped this kid.
yeah. And then you went on to tell this story that just kind of shaped your. We're doing this.
Yeah, we're guys. This is how we do it.
How we do it.
Let's clap it up for these two.
What's up? Hey, how are you doing?
One first.
You saved my life, Dad, back in 2011 when Laurel and Meyer put me in debt with their book, Making Millionaires. Crush it has saved my life. So since then, I've waited to meet you in person. And then my son is so inspired. Can I take a picture? Go. Okay.
We sell that in school for 5 cents.
Like,
years that we were able to come to America. During that 3-month period, the great uncle dies. So now we come to America and we're like, you know, in a spot. And so I live in a studio apartment with 8 family members. Like I am driven by gratitude. I can never get fancy. I'm from the dirt, you know? And so my father gets a job as a stock boy in a liquor store in New Jersey. He's literally commuting from Queens to New Jersey for like $2 an hour. It's like insane that this is like 5 minutes ago. My dad works his face off, becomes the manager of the store. That lets us move to Edison, New Jersey. That's really where I grew up. That's where I was Americanized. Literally, for the kids under 30 here, you won't understand this, but I went outside to play. And so, you know, I went outside, and literally, for everyone over 40 or 45, you know exactly where I'm going. In the beginning of your childhood, you go outside and play, and you like look for people. So I'm like walking around town, and like in the distance, I'm like, there's some kids that can come. Fair enough. In Jersey, they were everywhere too, but like you just have to find. I found these kids and they were playing football, and I walked over, and these became my best friends growing up. They're playing football, and they're like, "Are you a football fan?" And I'm like, "I'm just barely getting English down at this point." And they're like, "Well, you're with us now," and they're like, "You're a Jets fan," and that was. I really wish they said something else. So that was 1982, and now I'm pot committed. I watched, this was August right before school, just moved before school, so I watched the whole season. And the Jets, in typical Jets, what they've done to me fashion, tripped the shit out of me. The 1982 Jets went all the way to the AFC Championship game, literally the game before the Super Bowl. I'm like, this is good. It took literally 16 more years for them to even get that close. So now I'm fully in. I'm in. And we're playing football every day with the Nerf ball every day. And my friends all have a Jets jersey. And I asked my mom for a Jets jersey. And we were poor, and like we weren't really like that. We were immigrants. Like you don't buy a $20 jersey. Like money was for food and baby clothes, you know. And so she said no. And unbeknownst to me, over the next 4 or 5 weeks, my mom, after she put to bed from 10 p.m. on to midnight, started knitting me a Jets jersey. And on that jersey was the number 5. And that's because 2 years earlier, when I was 5, I decided 5 was my favorite number. I still have that Jets jersey. I wore it every single day. And the reason I throw up 5 in every photo is my mother is my hero. My mother. I get a lot of accolades. I get a lot of love. And 100%, Dad, don't be mad at me, but an enormous amount, close to 100% of the reason it happens is the way she parented me, who she is, who she was, who she is today. And all I'm really doing for the world is extending what she did to me to the world. And the reason I've saved that jersey is when I buy the New York Jets in the future, when I'm going to put that jersey in the front of the stadium when everybody walks in. I'm literally, when I design the stadium, I'm going to design it so that the majority of people have to walk through the middle while still getting everybody to their seats nicely.
Just a little advice, grab the team first before you design your stadium.
Real quick, I want to say the punchline. I'm going to put that jersey in front of everybody, and it's going to have a little plaque, and it's going to say, from not being able to buy a Jets jersey to buying, close your ears, kids, the whole fucking team. Listen, I'm incredibly proud of you. I love this town. Honestly, I was here last weekend. I've been here several times since Rise really jumped in. I gotta tell you, I know we're wrapping up. I'm just so humbled to be here. I adore, that would be the word I use, I adore the entrepreneurial spirit, the community feel, the civility that I see from the airport to the hotel to the meetings that many people in this town treat each other with. I love being here. I'm so honored to be a part of this. I hope you heard me on the day trading attention thing for the practical stuff.
some guy. Gary Vee. He became my idol a few weeks ago. I'm digging this guy. Awesome person. Cannot get enough. Yeah, Gary Vee. Alright, Philippine time. What time is it in the Philippines? Almost 9 o'clock, evening, 9 o'clock. I'm just gonna call my father, and then I'm probably gonna go and crash. I pretty much spend all day in the office, do my stuff, go to towns and watch the guys at the hangar. But yeah, we full on marketing now, social media, and we need to create a lot of content. We need to create a lot of content. We need to get a lot more attention. People don't know we exist. It's a big problem in aviation. It's expensive business. So we need to get phone calls, emails. We need to get requests. It's a low season in the Philippines this time. Raining season starts, typhoons until October start to get better. November, December, then the tourists will come back. So this is a bit of a tough times. We hope to get some tourists, some charters. We do have charters for pearl farms, so yeah, it's very important. You can look us up on Google, Horizon Sun Charters. We're on social media, website, seaplane.ph. You can read about us. We started in 2015, but operational wise, only since 2 years and a few months, so we're fairly new. It's a niche market, high end. Almost all of the clients are from overseas. Not much local market beside the pearl farms. So tough business to be in. So Gary Vee, I think he may save our life eventually, but it'll take some time. I'm giving myself 18 months to really get this going. It's only one, but I appreciate you're the one that I the one we need, and that's what matters. One is good. Now we got 3. Excellent. But yeah, that's how it is. That's how we start. It's a tough game. So what we do is seaplane, the Philippines. That's the model. The real one is in the hangar, 5 minutes walk away from here. That's the Horizon Sun Charter. It's the Hamlin Beaver, Canadian built. We do scenic, resort transfer, package, inclusive the resorts, and that's it. So we're focusing on marketing. This is why this YouTube live. I want to show what I do, what we do, show where we live, who I am. That's all it is. Create connection. So you're welcome into my space. You can ask any question you like. No problem. So I'll call my dad and see how he's doing. See if I can reach him. The Wi-Fi is pretty bad. Pretty bad on none. not working. Alright. 10.716.
They think it's all like, oh, he's got a team. I'm like, no shit. For 11 years, I did it by myself. And then, yes, I got to a place where I have a huge team for my content. But I'm still writing the copy.
It's still your voice.
No, it's my voice because it's me.
That's what I'm saying. But you're saying I'm saying it works because it is still you. You're not farming this out. You were like, I got this razor sharp perspective and I gotta make sure it gets out there.
But I'm also like analyzing the numbers and like thinking through the first second and like, it's why I wrote the new book. Like I feel like I'm at the sharpest I've ever been. And I know, because I've grown up in this game the last 15 years, as people hit financial success, as they go into different chapters of their life, which is super appropriate, by the way. Everyone gets to live their life the way they want. Most people have, delegated or walked away from the trenches, from the dirt, from the practitionership. I've doubled down on it.
I would love to kind of dig into this point. So
It's about it.
you could, Gary, you could do literally anything you want to do with your life, right? Your latest book that did Trading Attention, you basically taught a whole generation how to do that. One of the things that we find with marketers, I know you manage marketers or spend a bunch of time with marketers, is today marketers want to graduate to strategy really quickly, right? Like, I've done a year's work, now I'm a strategist, and like someone else would do the actual craft, but I'll direct them to do the craft. What do you say to people like that? Because you're deep in the craft all this time, today, like each and every day you're in the craft. Like, what do you say to people like that?
I'm obsessed with strategy, right? So first, it makes sense. Like, I couldn't comprehend not overthinking about this stuff. It's my favorite part. But I would say to people, the second you take your hand off the wheel, you become a worse driver.
Right.
And so I do believe that, let's go very high up. The sole reason Fortune 500 CMOs really struggle with today's marketing is they are so removed.
So yes. So
They don't even have some of these apps on their phone, let alone consume the creative that works on it, let alone make the creative that works on it. Think about that. They are so uncomfortably removed. And so, for me, the reason I like being in the craft, it gives me a currency, a pulse of its actual success with the end consumer. But this is also challenging. Here's why. First of all, if you're in the Fortune 5000, so let's include private equity-based owned businesses and Series D VC-backed startups, if you're at that level, a lot of your marketing isn't even in the trenches. Fortune 500 continues to overspend So, first of all, if you're Fortune 5000, you're running on reports, not on truth, right? Internal MMMs, MMAs, justifying media spend that are fake. Creative is being done by creative agencies that want to make television ads on a good day, and on a bad day, want to make banner ads for the web. So it's a mockery there. As you go underneath that, you have a lot of founders that start companies doing all the social creative, doing all the copywriting, doing the website, doing the email, and it's great. And then they get bougie, especially the under 40 who have said, I get it, they want to get to the Lambos and the private planes and the bougie and all the things that they want. And, you know, they start to delegate, and they have fast dreams that also leads to quick vulnerabilities. And so, you know, I think you're right, man. I'm pumped to see the way you jumped in and asked with passion, because I do think it's the biggest variable out there. And I think in a world where money got expensive, right? Like
Yes.
raising capital is expensive now. And in the world of post iOS 14.5,
Right.
now let's call it what it was. The ones that figured out that Facebook, when I was yelling and screaming, it was true. Facebook was so effective that if you just did a very simple CAC, LTV, ROAS, cookie people, and travel around the whole internet and sell to them until they finally give up, and raise tons of capital, you were able to make it look like on paper you had a great business. And so that era is also over. And I think this is also one of the reasons I wrote the new book. I think we're going into an era where you're going to have to be better to win. And that excites me, and I wanted to prepare my community or the people that follow me that are curious after they hear about it. And I think I did just that with this one.
Well, yeah, so I want to get into the book, Day Trading Attention. First of all, we're catching you on a good day. Brunson just hung 41 points on the 76ers. The Knicks are up 3-1.
Yeah.
Oh, 47 again? Was it 47?
Except
47, jeez. I forgot that. And so we're catching you in a good mood. Most marketers at.
Great. Not only did that happen, but my son won his first AAU tournament.
Oh, sick.
The Jets had a good draft this weekend that I was thrilled with subjectively. We'll see how it plays out. It is a sunny Monday day in New York, and I'm on the Blue Boys. I mean, this is
So we're catching you at a high point. Most marketers right now I talk to, Gary, are the exact opposite. They're pretty freaked out right now. They're like, oh, my ads are getting more expensive. My traffic to my how-to blog post is going down.
yes.
Nobody cares about my social media. They're like,
I track my
emails are
emails.
getting open less.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
guess
just
what?
track them.
And if they're really smart, all my traffic comes from Google and AI things like what if search goes away?
Right. Well, that's what we want to talk to you about. Like, this is Kieran and I's thing. It's like, hey, we're moving into an era of day trading attention where you need personality-led growth and different strategies to do that. And if you're relying on just paid ads and Google, you're screwed 10 years from now. Like, that's not the right way to play.
By the way, I had email and search figured out in 2000.
Right.
I bought the day Google AdWords came out. I bought all the wine terms. I owned the word wine without a bid up for 3 days.
It's a great story.
And this was, I think it was like 6 to 12 months that the minimum bid was 5 cents, not 10 cents on Google. And so I meant, wait, this crowd's gonna love this. You ready for this one? 1999, winelibrary.com, over 100,000 emails, 91% open rates.
I remember reading that from your newsletter. It's good to be first. This is another thing you're incredible at. Like, you're first to most marketing tactics or channels.
Because I day trade attention, I'm never scared. In fact, here's a good one. You can imagine, given the life I live and how loud I was 4 years ago. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't get 13 questions of, so what are you gonna do, Gary, when TikTok's gone? And I'm like, bro. I'm like, what do you think's gonna happen? If TikTok's banned in America, all that attention has to go somewhere. I believe that X is gonna relaunch Vine.
Yes.
I believe there's 4 to 50 good entrepreneurs right now building a TikTok competitor right now, because they're like, fuck it, the stakes are so high, if it gets banned, I'm gonna crush. I think Snap attention because she or he will spend that first 2, 3, 4 months really getting a sense in the gray, because it won't show up in the math yet. In the gray, they will figure out where it's going and they will hit it hard. And so, what do I say to all those people? Tough shit. And here's why. Here's why I say tough shit, Kim. When I hear, Gary, you don't get it, my email, my Google search, what you just said. This sucks. I'm like, you know what sucks? When you own AAA cleaners in New York and you were the first result in the yellow pages under cleaners, and then Google and Yahoo came along and killed the yellow pages. You had a 70-year business. I don't know if people know this. The reason there are so many companies named AAA cleaners, AAA landscapers, AAA, is because the yellow pages were the source of finding things, and they did it alphabetically, and the people that owned AAA showed up first. How about that for a history marketing lesson?
There's probably like half the people listening to the show had no idea that was the case.
So to me, it is what it is. Do you think that Hershey's is thrilled that Mr. Beast made chocolate? Do you think Gatorade is super pumped that KSI and Logan Paul made Prime Energy drink? Do you think that Kmart was happy that Walmart happened? Do you think that QVC is pumped that TikTok Shop exists? Do you think that Hollywood, that ABC was thrilled that Netflix happened? Do you think that Toys R Us was happy that Amazon happened? What are people talking about? Everything changes all the time, always and forever. And if you're crying that the thing that helps you make money is changing, well then you're a hypocrite of the history of how business works. And here's what happened. You got fat and lazy.
Yes.
And you're in trouble. And I say this, I hope people hear it, it's framed as tough love. Here's why. We can't complain about it because we were the beneficiaries of it at some point in our career. I'm not allowed to be mad that email and search got trumped by blogging, YouTube, and social media. It's why I ran at it so hard, because I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I built the largest wine store in New Jersey because everybody else was doing direct mail and full-page ads in newspaper when I outflanked them with a website, email, and Google. So when I sensed things were changing, I didn't want someone to do that to me. By the way, it happened to my dad. I got busy, started doing VaynerMedia, and became Gary V, quote unquote, and Wines to Sold Out came out and innovated a deal of the day Groupon style and really took and became the biggest store and took that business from my dad. Then I got mad because I love my dad, and I invented winetext.com. By the way, everybody should sign up for it, it's crazy. And now it's deal of the day in text for better deals, and even easier to just reply with a number to the text. And so that's what I love about it. It's kind of like a trilogy in boxing, right? You don't win every fight. You might have won the first one, you lost the second one, the third one was a draw. It is what it is. This is the reality of marketing. It will forever change. And I struggle with how naive the Fortune 500 companies are of what's happening right now.
They should be terrified.
But it tracks with what you said, Gary, that the CMOs, if you're not in the craft, if you don't know how things are changing, unless your agency turns up one day and has a bad report, because for the most part, that's all they look at, right? But you actually, to really understand how things are changing in the market, you have to be in the craft every day.
You just talked about the thing that bothers me. My thing doesn't bother me. The CMOs bother me, but don't bother me. What bothers me is the agency landscape. I am flabbergasted. 15 years ago, how agencies' incentives do not align with their clients.
Agencies and are to make TV ads and try to win awards, and most companies don't need TV ads, and awards are irrelevant.
And if you look even deeper, Kim, they sell things that they make margin on.
Oh, of course.
So it's not, they make money on upfront buying on TV for sure. They make a ton of money on creating television. If you're a creative agency, for everybody that doesn't know what happens at Madison Avenue, if you're an iconic creative, Ogilvy, let's use an iconic one, you get paid a full year, millions and millions of dollars just to think of one commercial. You don't even make it. You outsource it to a production company. Literally to think. Make decks and present. And then even worse, programmatic digital. They make so much money in these black boxes justified by CPM cost. The whole ecosystem is really, really pissing me off. And I believe that the reason I'm still building an agency is a little bit based on my superhero syndrome, which is a problem. I gotta fix it because, you know, you go too far and you start building resentment. That's my personal life and my professional life. Like I really want to tear down Madison Avenue with VaynerMedia. When I say tear down, I don't wish bad on anyone. I just believe the interests don't align enough, and I'm hoping that I inspire a lot of kids that are coming out of ad school to build an independent agency and not sell to a holding company. Because if you sell to a holding company, it goes back to what's happening. I'm not even mad at the holding companies. They're publicly traded companies, and they care about their stock value, not about driving business results for their clients. And finally, it is the Coca-Cola and BMW's fault. If you're writing the check, you're in control. So they are feeding this bad ecosystem. They're the ones that can stop it. So yeah, for everybody who's listening, knowing that there's a lot of people that might be considering getting into the marketing landscape, the Fortune 500 marketing thing is a major problem. It's built on a book called How Brands Grow that was written in 1991. It's the thesis of how companies still run, which is right in principle, but doesn't take into account the practitionership of 2024. Reach and frequency and being consistent is beautiful. The problem is the world is fragmented. People's attention is 9,000 places now. And so you need to win on relevance and scale. That's how you stay consistent. And so that's why I wrote Day Trading Attention. I'm hoping, very selfishly, but also selflessly, that I might write the current Bible of marketing, and that's the attempt I'm giving.
That's awesome. Well, first of all, I agree with you on the agency model being broken. Like, we work with you all at Vayner on social at HubSpot, right? Brian and folks on our team. We're killing it with you all, thank you. But like, I can't imagine another agency moving and executing
And
that
you know,
fast, right?
let's share a little bit from behind the scenes that I think will help everyone. It is, thank you, and it's starting to go well, but you know, it takes, like, I'm sure you've heard from your team, I'm reading the notes every week. When you're doing it different, it takes a few minutes to calibrate it. Like, it's not the easiest thing for a HubSpot or anybody else to make that transition because it's a different model.
Yeah, well, you have to move fast, and back to when you have to be relevant at scale. And to be relevant at scale, you have to say interesting and different shit. And it offends people, and people are a little uncomfortable about it, and they don't know how to act. And then you get some people who will send you DMs and be like, oh, I don't know if I like this. And you just have to be like, well, most people do. And the people I'm here for, the people I'm here to serve, do. And that's ultimately what matters. I'm not here to make everybody happy. I'm here to make companies who are trying to grow and be the next Fortune 500 companies, trying to make them happy.
100%. And you know, it's hard. It's hard for your most senior constituents. I know your founders very well. I'm sure they, you know, maybe they've seen the post like, but then, by the way, it's hard for my team. I always tell my team, if we're asking for humility and yes and culture from our clients, we have to be the same. I just speak to a creative last week in Asia and said, you're doing to our clients what you cry about that our clients do to us. Because she was like, my model, our model, the model is we need to win on relevance to many different consumers. When the client has an idea, we need to make that piece of creative with the same gusto as if it was our own idea. And so my team's at its worst when they're like, oh, client, you don't get it. No. Every client usually knows their business better than us. And then on the flip side, you know, sometimes it's a senior person, but then sometimes it's day-to-day people. Sometimes it's a 30-year-old who says no to something we're making because it's not on brand in their mind. But on brand is to the different constituents, not the subjective opinion of the human.
It's not on brand is like the most awful, horrible excuse not to do something. And
This is not on
today's
brand. I love you for this. This is not on brand. Is the great weapon of bad marketing.
Right. Hell yes.
Because it's somebody invoking their political power on the meeting. Because this is not on brand would be like me saying that I, Gary, am universally correct in what attractive is.
Great. What we talk a lot about on this show is that with AI and AI tools gaining steam, the cost to ship ideas is approaching zero. Right? Like if you are obsessed about pixel perfect with a perfect idea, you're gonna lose because somebody's just gonna out-test you and out-ship you.
I just don't understand how people don't understand what's going on. I really don't.
Oh, here, you have listen, Gary. This show is listened to by hundreds of thousands of marketers and founders every month. You have the floor. what do you want them to change about how they think about marketing? Like if you could just give them the 2 minutes of like, shift your mind this way.
Let me give a bunch of stuff, and then you two jump in on the things that you think the audience will click on. Here are many things that need to be digested, which are hard to digest. Number one, quantity does not come at the expense of quality.
Hell yes.
Number two, if you do not understand how the first second of a video works per platform, you cannot be successful on social media. AKA, how the first second of your video shows up in a TikTok versus how it shows up in an Instagram reel is already different. And I'm watching many of you not succeed in one or the other or both platforms because you have not understood the science of the art of the first second of a video. Number three, a comment on a social media post today that's clever, what I call CASI, comments as creative, is a more effective marketing execution than almost every banner ad, billboard, radio spot, and print ad in the world. Number four, if you do not market 40 different, 30 different, I'll let you get away with 20 different micro consumer segmentations every day. 19 to 23-year-old Hispanic males that live in California that are into skateboarding. 40 to 45-year-old moms in middle America that have teenage boys. 60 to 70-year-old men who are in the last 5 years of their career that live in Florida, that work in B2B SaaS. 21 to 25-year-old women that only consume TikTok for health and beauty tips on the coasts. 150,000 to 300,000 income earning Asian males who are 30 and single that travel a lot. If you do not think in the way that I just talked about, and have many of them for your coffee, for your SaaS business, for your automotive company, for your makeup brand, for your Fortune 500, 5,000, or local flower shop, if you do not think in cohorts, and then those cohorts are how you wake up in the morning and think about the 10 to 20 pieces of content you're going to put out on social media, you already are on your back foot and are losing market share without even realizing. I mean, I've got like 30 more. Let's stop here for a second. What of those four rants got you going?
I really want to talk about two, and then I actually have a question around brands versus creators, because one of the things we talked about in this show is the marketing channels growing today favor personalities versus brands. And
let me just jump in right there, if you don't mind. Only because they're better at marketing. Let me
agreed. Yeah.
Duolingo.
You're just killing your content as creative shit, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Like,
Comments game is great.
Hobby Soda is building a multi-$100 million, and as you know, it did it through the marketing and micro creators, and then the founder started to show up in the content. Like, there's a lot. The only reason creators are dominating brands is because they're better at the marketing.
Right. But what are they better at, Gary, specifically? I think they're more agile, they're faster. Like, what else is it?
The first second, the beats, the copywriting, like the stuff that fucking matters. Like, they don't look. Have you seen the brands put on social media?
But isn't it because creators don't get the line thrown at them that when they have an idea to put out there, they don't have someone throwing the line saying this isn't on brand, right? That is the great killer of creativity, and creators don't have that thrown at them.
Yes, brother. And this is why until corporate America falls in love with yes and, actually here's a big one, and then I'll let you go back to the four things. I know we're all over the place because I'm having too much fun. Until Fortune 5000 falls in love with and, they will lose. They're obsessed with or. They love or. 8 hours of meetings for or. 8 weeks of debating or. And it makes sense. It's their DNA. When you have to spend all your money on a television commercial, it was smart to spend 4 or 5 months on figuring out or. It makes no sense now. You're marketing. I'll go in there. I'll go on my next rant. But okay, you said two. Go ahead.
So I think video is an ever growing important critical part of like how you market today, and actually all of the channels are starting to skew much more heavily towards video. Like Elon brings Vine back. You are a master of video. I don't think many people have their videos as we shared as much as you do. Teach us or teach interested and relevant in video, because I just think that 95% should just not do video if they're going to do the videos they're doing today.
Well, first, I said, thank you for the compliment, but this is why I started VaynerMedia. I don't think you need to be pop on camera. I'm aware that I have charisma and I'm a good communicator. I understand that helps me. I'm aware I don't have this. I'm aware that some people are just so goddamn beautiful, it's hard for us not to watch them. Then there's people who are just so damn knowledgeable, right? I may be high energy, but as you two know, that also turns people off. There's other people that are very serious and we love it, right? We like it because it's good information. A lot of ways to win on video, but let's go back to answer how to make video. Let me say it nice and slow. If I am making content, if I know I'm making content for Southern frat dudes, 21 to 24, to buy my beef jerky, to buy my deodorant, to buy my bottled water, you can imagine here where I'm going. This is the new brief. The new brief is the consumer segmentations. This is how you win on social. So if I already know I'm going after that, and then this is why, I don't know if you guys get the book, did you get to skim it? I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read it. Give me, Rio, did you skim it? Did you read a little bit?
I skimmed it.
Great. When you skimmed it, you probably saw, like, it's kind of textbooky.
Very.
It's definitely deeper than anything I've ever done. And it was because there was no way for me to articulate what I'm about to articulate. So now I know I'm going after 22 to 25-year-old dudes that went to University of Alabama and were in a frat, right? And I know I want to sell them deodorant. First of all, and I know I'm on TikTok. First of all, I know that the thumbnail and the first second is my life. Kieran, Kim, I know that 98% of people do not obsess about the first second because 98% of the content I consume every day waits 8 seconds. And by the way, I do it wrong sometimes too. It's hard. It's hard. So it's just like sometimes I do push-ups wrong. I know what I need to do, but like, I'm tired. And so, the copy, the slang, Kieran, as you can imagine, if I know that I'm going after Hispanic dudes in New York who come from Dominican and Puerto Rican families, can you imagine the adjectives that I'm going to use in the copy that's going to be different than frat dude? Like, this is what people are not doing, right? And then I know it needs to not only the first second, then around 6 to 10 seconds, I need to make sure that I still have that. It's cadence of the video. And then are we articulating it simple? And then there's just a million things that go into it. Do I want this just to be brand? Once it goes organically well, do I convert it slightly to performance? I'm going to say a very big statement. Organic social media. Organic social media. Posts per day. What I call social media ads. Because if you don't call them ads, the industry doesn't take it as serious. Social media ads, just posting, I'm like pumped to say this on this show, is now clearly and undisputed to anyone who's actually in day-to-day marketing, the most important part of every marketing mix in the world, and every Fortune 500 company on a good day has it as the 30th most important thing. On a good day.
Why did they think it? I'm with you. It is one of the most important things that we do every day.
I don't even think it's close, and I'll tell you why, Kip. I'll get to answer why, but let me just tell you why it's not one of the most important. It is now leaped to the most important. In the last 3 years, we've lived with TikTokification of social media. Every single social media platform right now that has a staggering percentage of the world's attention now works with the For You page mentality, including LinkedIn. Just watch theirs. Meaning, the content itself finds the audience. For the first time in marketing history, the creative creates the reach. This is unheard of. I know this is a marketing move, so I can go nerdy. The creative creates the reach. Now, when you post organically 20 times a day, 15 times a day, 12 times a day, across 5 to 7 platforms, might be 3 of the same videos, slightly post-produced per platform, because on YouTube Shorts will be a little different than it was on X, different on Meta. When you do that, when the content reaches an over-indexing number or a viral number, the data is so strong, the algorithm is so strong, that there is 100% affirmation that there's something there for consumers. So what do you do next as a marketer? You then take that individual piece of content and you slightly tweak it in 3 different ways. Here are the 3 things you do, everybody, once you have a piece of organic social media over index your brand. Number 1, if you sell direct to consumer or on Amazon or Walmart.com, you take that video and you slightly tweak it and make it a brand performance ad. So it was brand at first, but now your post, you take back the asset, you may add a headline at the bottom that it didn't have before saying on sale. You may turn it into a selling ad. You know how that little thing will pop up at the bottom and you click to the shop. You may close with a code. You may say, click the link in my bio to buy. You turn it into performance, not just brand. Okay? That's one thing. Second thing you can do with it, and this is becoming one of the most advanced practices of the biggest direct-to-consumer brands, and it works for everyone. You can spend an ungodly amount of money amplifying that individual ad. A video that is a minute, or 30 seconds, or 50 seconds, that is seen by 9 million people on social media is the best commercial on TV. And so instead of just letting it die after it's done organically, we are seeing advanced startups, call it the hundreds of millions in revenue, still private, haven't sold or IPO'd, spend $1 to $5 million amplifying that individual post. Could you imagine a Fortune 500? Could you imagine telling Coca-Cola or
They got their money all tied up already. They don't even have the agility to do it.
doesn't even cross their mind? Wendy's would never take a viral TikTok and then spend $3 million the way they spend on their national TV ad. It's inconceivable. That's a practice that will become normal in the next 5 years. Or number 3, one of my favorite things to do. We did this with Jimmy John's. You take it, that piece of content, and that becomes the brief to a campaign. What we call SICs, socially informed campaigns. So you take an individual piece of content, or you do a couple more social media ads that are thematically the same, and then you're like, wow, all of our grandma, granddaughter videos crush. Now that's the brief. Let's go make a commercial for Super Bowl or for pre-roll YouTube long-form video. That would be our preference over regular television. That's marketing now.
Well, your thesis is actually very simple. You used to pay millions of dollars to people in offices to guess what people wanted. And now you're like, hey, you have to ship 10 to 15 things a day. And out of those, you're going to find a handful that are way better than anybody in those offices could have ever come up with. Not because they're more interesting, but they're more culturally relevant.
They came up with in the offices. This is what I tell all my kids from Ruggified and Wyden and Chris. They come from all these fancy places, and they're like, they're a little weirded out because Vader's different, social. I'm like, guys, girls, you're going to be able to come up with every idea you've ever had. You could make an ad. Let me break it down more classic, because I think you guys will like this. This is going to help. I see this helping a lot of very traditional marketers. All that social media ads are every day is like literally doing radio, print, direct mail, and outdoor media and creative every day.
Yeah.
Like, I said this the other day, and it completely unlocked the cynic in the room in this meeting. And she's very smart. I have a lot of respect for her. I was like, look, if your fashion brand 30 years ago could run print ads every day, would you do it if you could have afforded it? She goes, of course. I go, that's social media. I believe that what happened is what happened with television. Television came out, it was small. It was not in a lot of households when it first came out because it was too expensive. And every radio copywriter in Madison Avenue shit on the television commercial. The television commercial was an inferior status in advertising because the radio and print were classic and more elevated. And all that's happening now is the social media ad has taken over the television ad, but the industry is still holding on to yesterday. This industry, my friends, is fascinating. It is romantic about yesterday, and it's infatuated with tomorrow. 3 years ago, I had people willing to spend $3 million to build a store in the metaverse that had 9 people in it. They weren't willing to spend $3 million a year on organic social media creative.
Right. Well, so that's because the legacy people are telling them that they don't want to lose the TV budgets, right, Gary? Like, well, if you're a marketer, then one of the best things is just, hey, what are these people people incentives that they're selling me, and are they incentivized in the old lame way of doing things? And if so, I should open my eyes up and change to the present best opportunity.
Romantic about yesterday, infatuated with tomorrow, suck it today. It's just real life. And let me say this is not a social media, day trading attention is not a social media only game. I would buy full page ads in the Wall Street Journal tomorrow if they were $4,000, but they're not. I think Super Bowl is the most underpriced media buy in marketing in the world. At $8 million, I will get 110 million Americans to watch 30 seconds of a video. It is unbelievably underpriced. The problem is, if my 30-second video is not good, then the whole thing's a loss. Creative is the variable of success. Nothing I talk about is changed from the history of marketing. The history of marketing is reach and frequency, right? And the creative is the variable of success. Where's the beef? Just do it. The difference is the mediums have changed. And I argue that we have always bought potential reach, not actualized reach. Common sense is not part of people's boardrooms, unfortunately. I don't believe those banner ad impressions. I don't believe GRPs on television. I don't believe the PR company when it said this got 80 billion impressions in PR. It got 9.
One of the things that's also happened at the same time that you're kind of making the case that is the number one skill marketers need to have today. We have to get in a little bit of AI as like one of the passions of this show. AI, I played with so many tools that will help you do creative, help you create video, whether they're good or bad. Right now isn't the point. It's like this is a minimal viable version today. Like think about where they're going to be in 2 years' time and prepare for that.
What cell phones looked like 30 years ago?
Exactly. Exactly. We were using Yahoo Web Directory before we had Google, right? Like that's the way to think about this. How do you think about like as someone who is a master of the craft of content, where is AI fitting into your process?
Oh, it's an everyday conversation. The only thing that's holding me up right now is the biggest companies in the world need to be careful with AI creative,
Right.
because I don't believe that the trademark and copyright issues have been settled. So if you're Mercedes and your agency or you make a full-fledged 30-second video from AI and you run it on television, be prepared to get a cease and desist and a legal action from a Disney, from anybody who owns intellectual property. It has some real feelings about people siphoning off of their creative wisdom for their own good, and nobody has figured out what percentage. You know how in music we figured out, well, if you use 3 seconds of sampling, that's okay, but more than that's not.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit concerned that we're in a 5-year window where we're going to need to figure out a lot of stuff, which again is going to favor the entrepreneur. These kids, they don't care about. Disney's not suing Ron in Nebraska, right? So, but behind the scenes, making decks for each other, thinking, using this, talk about strategy, Karen, when you say strategy, like using AI to be a strategy partner is incredible.
Exactly.
Here's how my brain works.
100%.
A year ago, why is everybody starting to wear corduroy hats again? You know, I used to literally go to Google and social for that. The fact that I can type that in, and every day I'm seeing that it's getting better at helping me think. I mean, this is a big deal. I mean, for critical thinkers like myself, for people who are naturally prompt engineers long before they even knew what a prompt engineer was, like myself, this is going to be a creative nirvana for people that are the actual creatives. The actual creatives are going to win big. The people that's at between actual creatives and the market, who are doing the secondary creative work, the architect is going to win. The masons are a little bit in trouble.
Exactly. The tooling. This is what we've argued on the show. This is a boom for creators. Like I was talking to a marketer over the weekend and they were like AI's help or all hype, it's not that helpful. It's like fine for research for a blog post. But even just the tiny thing where you can have an AI create 100 variations of something. You ask a human to create 100 variations of something, they're out after variation 10. That's too much work, it's too monotonous, I don't want to do that. I can just say like, I have this creative idea of a campaign, and I can say create 100 variations of this, and here's some guidelines to iterate on each creation. That alone, I just don't think people get it, right? They underestimate like having something that can do that for me. I have to click the button.
Well, I got a good one for you. Wait to the platforms that have all the attention. Start creating the AI tool creations.
Yes.
distribution on their platforms when they have all the information of what works on the platform.
Right. That is going to
Let
be
me see
this.
that nice and slow for all the kids in the back.
Right.
While everybody invests in AI tools and all this stuff, they're all going to get completely wiped by the platforms themselves. And I'm not just talking social. When Netflix has commercial, who's Hulu? When Hulu has all the data of the kind of videos and first seconds and scripts that work on their ad breaks at their disposal to make you your ad, they're going to have all the leverage.
Exactly. This
You're
is
going to create 100 different variations for all the micro segments, back to your point,
Exactly.
and they're going to convert 100% better than the stuff that you were doing before.
When I say Don Draper's dead, he's dead.
Dead.
What do you think that, so one of the things that Kim and I talk a lot about is the game of inches, right? That actually most marketers are kind of doing the same sort of stuff, and maybe they're all kind of similar in skill sets, but the best marketers have discovered like the game of inches, the 10%, the 15%, that they just excel at and crush everything else. So in your next era of marketing, like you're painting the book for it, you've written the book for it, what is the game of inches? What is to me to excel in the next era? What should I crush it at? Like, what should I spend my time to excel at?
You have a fun answer for this. Let me give you the game of inches that I've always thought was a yard that is not a new phenomenon that everyone continues to miss. And I would call it a blind spot. I believe the game of inches, especially with the commoditization of many things, given AI is coming in other things, I believe that almost every marketer on earth, when they make marketing, comes from such a deep, selfish place that the creative is already dead on arrival.
I love this.
I believe the reason I've been able to outflank my inches in every medium, in every iteration, has been simply this. I have never sold anything or made anything that didn't start with the following thing. Fuck my cohorts. It starts with why on earth would anybody watch this? When I tell you the game of inches is completely based on the selfless, selfish framework that is marketing in life, it is that, my friends. When I tell you that the reason everything has worked for me and when I see it work for others, here's the biggest problem. Everybody comes from, including creators. I want more followers. I want to be famous. I want this to go viral. A couple of friends of mine about 3 years ago, they sniffed it out and said, hey, why don't you ever post anything like cool? I was like, what do you mean? They're like, I don't know, like when you take a private flight to a Jets game, or like when you drink a $5,000 bottle of wine, or like when you have dinner, like I show up incoming kids in my office, but I don't show like the people that are big, they're like, why don't you do that? And I'm like, because it doesn't bring any value to the audience. To me, when someone takes a photo in a private plane with a bottle of champagne there and a pretty person to their side, that they're doing that for themselves.
They totally are.
One guy came up to me at a private dinner where we had this talk, and I brought this up to this group, and he goes, you know what, Aaron, it's bullshit. It's aspiration. And I'm like, I really don't think it is. I think that's the makeup you put on it to justify your insecurity that you do those posts.
Yeah, you're just trying to prove somebody in high school that you're cool, not that it's actually valuable, right?
Correct.
That's the point.
And I think brands are worse than creators and influencers in this game. Everything they put out is for themselves.
Yeah.
They think very little about why someone would enjoy this. And that's why humor tends to historically work in marketing. It was like the one place where the selfish brands and agencies were able to meet the audience, right? But there's so many other things. There's information, education, there's ponderings, there's insights, there's wisdoms, and there's escapism like beauty and humor. There's banter. There's so many things that could work, but marketing right now is incredibly not creative. I would argue the least creative, and I've got my hands in a lot of things. I would argue the least creative thing I know right now is is there's no copy and art director and there's no ACVs, there's no team of creatives that work in a classic advertising agency that are able to make their best work. I don't think they're not creative. I think they work in companies that suck out their creativity.
Right.
I believe many of the people that have gone into advertising, including my own company, came in much more creative than they left.
It's because of the one thing you like, if you can take one thing from this show, it's because they don't start with what you start with, which is how do I make something interesting. They start with something like, this is our rigid brand style guide, this is our rigid brand formula, this is what we can and can't say, this is our product that we have to promote because that's what we're tasked with, right? They don't actually start with that question, so then the content selects.
They also mainly start with writing a script for a 30-second video that consciously or subconsciously is only trying to do one thing.
So,
Win with Ad Age or some other magazine in the industry, or win a Cannes Lion, or get a yes from the brand CMO. Nothing has to do with will end consumers think this is a connection.
that's why you see a litany of, I actually was going through something yesterday for fun, for different purposes, but just a litany of branded tech channels that have, on YouTube, that have like 500 people. And like the average video gets, 100 views, and they're doing it day in, day out, putting those things out. And they, like, at what point does it drop? No one's watching this stuff.
I think the most interesting thing, Ben, about this entire conversation, that I've been having this conversation for 15 years, the most interesting part of this conversation to me personally is for the first time in those 15 years, I think shit's about to hit the fan. For the, when I was talking about it in 2005 to private companies as why I was getting Ryan and myself going, it wasn't even on people's radars. When I started VaynerMedia in 2009, my brother AJ's laptop literally created the NHL's Twitter and Facebook account, Camel's Twitter and Facebook account. My brother literally registered Pepsi's Twitter account, literally. So think about how far we've come. They didn't even have the accounts. But there was never a time in the last 15 years of having this agency that I felt what I believed deeply was about to tip and have that moment. And let me explain what I mean by that moment. I yelled about Netflix for years in Hollywood to every single CAA executive, ABC executive, like anybody in Hollywood that had power from 2010 to 15, every dinner I had with them is Netflix is going to win this. Netflix is going to win this. Netflix is going to win this. And they completely dismissed it until they didn't. Everybody who would listen to me in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18 in Hollywood would also get one other thing from me. Influencers on social media are about to become more famous than famous people. And no one believed me. Both of those things have now become true, and all those people that have those dinners with me are like, how'd you know? Why'd you know? What's next? I believe that we are within 5 years of the tipping moment in advertising in Fortune 500 land. Not because I said so, not because of anything else, because it's almost over. Like, these brands are getting hurt. You guys know this. They're losing market share. They lost, especially CPG, lost both their advantages. They used to have a media advantage. They could spend $50 million on television and kids could spend nothing. But now they're spending $50 million, $30 million on television. Kids are doing organic social and getting more awareness than they are. This is, by the way, I'm going to die on this hill. I want every Fortune 500 marketer to hear this. Every single brand that is good at social media organic is getting more actualized awareness than you're getting for your $30 to $50 million media spend. It's not even close, by the way. That's number one. And number two for CPGs, they got another problem. You couldn't get into Walmart and Target and Sephora in the past. Now these brands are getting famous on social, and the retailers are going to them and paying them to come in. Meanwhile, they're charging the CPG big brands to be in their stores inside these and retail media. And these kids are sometimes saying no because they can sell enough on Amazon or Shopify. I don't know what the fuck people are thinking, but carnage. Please Google it if you do not know this word. I know you all do. Carnage is coming. And there's such an easy way.
All right. Good night. Thanks for watching. I'll go to bed. I'll get up tomorrow. All right. Good night from the Philippines, Horizon Sun Charter. Cheers. Thanks for watching.